Hey guys, it's Ben Terry Farm. I want to make a short video talking about seed and basically seedling vigor, or why it is that a lot of seed, even if you're just a gardener and not a farmer, you'll notice at the store a lot of seed is treated. And I was wondering from when I first started farming, why exactly is it that, it actually kind of worried me because I didn't know any better. 10 years ago when I first started farming, and I wanted to do organic. We started off organic, we never did conventional, but I noticed that when I was looking for seed, and this is during my transitional period, so you had to do organic practices even though you weren't going to be able to sell it as organic. And so quickly I found out that a lot of the seed was treated that was conventional, pretty much all of it actually. And it actually, without knowing any better, through ignorance, I was a little worried that I was going to be planting seed that wasn't treated, even though I didn't want the poisons in the ground. The treatment is just the fungicides, generally fungicides. I guess they can put other stuff on it too, like pesticides. But basically they're putting poison coating on the seed. And so it concerned me a little bit, but I was dead set on being organic, and obviously we still are. So I didn't do it. But the longer I started farming and saving my own seed, what I realized and what I came to the conclusion with, especially in the last couple of years, I definitely needed some help in understanding exactly the nature of biology, which is not what we've been told for so long and is considered as common knowledge. Is that what is actually going on is when you put seed in the ground, just like anything else, if you put something out there, like say you eat a banana and you throw the peel out into the ground or into the soil, and somehow it got buried a couple inches, that banana peel is just going to get broken down. Why is it going to get broken down where the roots of a plant are not going to get broken down, or a living seed is going to germinate and sprout? And the reason why is because the soil recognizes that the banana peel is dead and is no longer respiring. And so the soil microbes are intelligent enough to recognize what is dead and what is living, and they immediately start doing their job. And that is to decompose and return it to soil, to break it down so that it can be reused to grow something else. And what these guys don't understand that are applying the seed treatments is that the reason why they're so reliant on them is because the seed is extremely weak to begin with. So what's happening is the conventional farmer has these drug addicted plants that need all the chemical fertilizers, and they need the herbicides to kill the weed competition. But what all these poisons end up doing is it produces a very poisoned and weak seed. And so what happens is when they harvest that and then they store it, and even if they store it under the most favorable conditions, optimal conditions, what ends up happening is if they try to use that seed the next year, and this goes for all the seed, conventional seed people out there, they're doing the same practices. A lot of people don't save seed anymore, but so anytime it's being bought from these huge conventional seed places and then planted, what happens is that seed is extremely weak. It's poisoned. It's basically on the verge of death. And so if they don't put the seed treatments in there to kill the fungus and the microbes that are in the soil around it that just want to do their natural job, if that stuff isn't on the seed, what ends up happening is they recognize that this is extremely weak and basically near death piece of organic matter when I'm referring to the seed. And so what it does, it just does its job. It recognizes it as something that is not living anymore, or is near not living. And after you plant it in the ground, it probably just very quickly dies. And so they break it down. And that's where you see seed rot and all these other things that they give some sort of name as if it's a disease that was attacking their wonderful seed. But the problem is the seed is weak. And so no one wants to recognize that. But that is what's actually going on. And that's why year after year, I'm doing things which people would think is crazy, which is like saving the seed. When I don't know if everyone thinks that's crazy, but planting all this untreated seed, but I've never had a problem. I've never had an issue as long as it's stored correctly. Now, if you don't store your grain correctly, your seed correctly, you're going to have problems, because death can happen just from that. I don't use any poisons, so the seed's not going to be poisoned, but it can be, harmed by improper handling. If you have too much moisture, like, I'm not even sure, I've never looked into this, but I would suspect that if you removed all the oxygen, I'm not sure how seeds would react to that. I know sometimes that's done, like they pump CO2 into these bins to kill insects, but basically just keep it in a cool, dry place. Make sure that it's dry prior to storing. And if you don't use all these chemical poisons, then you're not gonna have problems with germination and seedling vigor. There's something wrong with your seed, and you know, obviously these guys also have problems with their soil too. But the biggest thing is that they are producing extremely weak. And then you need to think about, if you're consuming these products, what does that mean about what you're consuming? You're not consuming living, healthy grains. You know, a lot of these things end up, you know, like corn and soybeans and peas and all the other things that, you know, this seed is saved for, that people end up consuming. You're eating something weak and dead. And many times it does actually contain poisons on the surface because of the spraying after it comes up. And that's why people have a lot of health problems. It's not the only reason. There's many reasons why, but you know, that's one of the reasons why the food is not high in nutrition, is because you're eating extremely weak and dead seeds. So I just wanted to make a short video about that because I've seen, well, I guess I haven't seen that much confusion about it, but for myself, I wasn't sure for a long time. And it just makes perfect sense that this is what's going on. So I wanted to share it. All right, well, thanks for watching the video. If you found this helpful or informative, please share it, and thank you.